Payday 3 has to be one of the biggest disappointments of the year for me personally. I participated in the beta that they had released earlier, and I had a lot of fun with the beta and what the game could possibly be upon launch. Unfortunately, upon Payday's 3 launch, it has been, for the most part, a huge disappointment and disaster. First and foremost, when the game did initially launch, they had massive server issues where you couldn't connect to games, you couldn't connect to the server, and you just made the game unplayable, and this is one of the negatives of an always online video game. But that was just the start of my disappointment, and not even the whole brass tacks of it all. One of the other issues that I was surprised to see that really agitated me was the fact that this is a co-op game in 2023 that doesn't have native voice chat. I don't know whose bright idea it was or who said that this was a good idea, but how do you have a co-op game without native voice chat? Yes, you can use Discord. Yes, if you're on console, you can use the Xbox voice chat or the PlayStation voice chat. But that's not the point. Sometimes you're queuing up with 2 or 3 people and you want that 1 or 2 random to fill out your squad, and there's no way to communicate with them. And even if you invite them, they may not accept the invite to your server or what have you, and then you can't communicate. Now, I know Starbreeze has come out and said, well, you don't really need the communication. Well, that's a load of BS, because many of the objectives in the game, they don't show you where they are. So if you're a totally new player, if it's your first time playing on that heist, and you're sitting there saying on the art heist, and you're sitting there saying, well, where's the security code? Where's the employee of the month picture for me to find the code? Well, you can't communicate with them with that now, can you? So not having voice chat to me was a very big no-no, and I was surprised that the game launched without it. The other issue I had right away from the get-go was the challenge-based progression. I don't know whose bright idea was that, because that is incredibly stupid. For context, the challenges, when you first start off, you may not feel like it's an issue because there's a lot of basic challenges that you'll earn at the beginning of your playthrough, and therefore you feel like, hey, look, it's not bad, I'm leveling up. But after you go up into the double digits of leveling, you will quickly find that the challenges become a problem because, well, you can't play the game the way you want to play it. You have to use guns you don't want to use, you have to get kills, and the game with the challenges does not coincide with the nature of the game itself. The idea of Payday is to pull off the perfect heist. Me and my squad mates, we pulled off a perfect heist on the bank robbery where we raided the vault, raided the security deposit boxes, not alert the police, and got very little XP out of it. All because we did it stealthy. So the challenges don't actually coincide with how the game should be played, other than the few heists that go loud no matter what. There are some heists that go loud, but the game essentially punishes you by going stealthy, which kind of defeats the purpose. Now, I know it sounds like I'm being a Debbie Downer, but that's not the bad. Everything about Payday 3 is not bad. For example, if you are playing with some friends, the game is a lot of fun. I think the graphics are pretty decent, nothing special. I do feel that the performance on my PC wasn't the greatest because the frame rate would fluctuate a lot, considering how the visuals are and what kind of rig I have. But the graphics were okay, audio's okay. The controls, it controlled really well. The levels and the heists, how they're designed really well. What I do like is they do have the cutscenes in between heists to kind of flesh out the small story that the game does have. The story is basically non-existent and not really good, but there is some cutscenes that help showcase the story. However, the menu for that is a little tedious because you have to constantly flip the cutscenes out to slim down the menu to make it more intuitive. I spoke earlier about the challenge-based progression. Now, one of the other issues that I had with Payday 3 was the fact that the game lacks content. There's only 8 heists in this game. Only 8. That's not a lot. There's not a lot of weapons. There's not a lot of variety. And the skills, some of them are not very good. To keep this in perspective, the game itself overall is a shell of what Payday 2 was. Now, knowing the developer's history, the developer will probably support this game, and in a year from now, it's going to be rich with content and be fully fleshed out. But in its current state, Payday 3 is not a great game. It is the perfect example of a good Game Pass game. If you're on Game Pass or you're a hardcore Payday fan, sure, play this game. If you're not a hardcore Payday fan or you're a casual and you do not have Game Pass, I do not recommend buying this game. The game just has too many issues, from the lack of content to the horrible progression system with the challenge-based progression to not having voice chat, which is a standard in 2023. There's just a lot of shortcomings with the game. The potential for this game to be amazing is definitely there, but it feels like this game was rushed and not ready to go, and that it needs more time in the oven. I suspect that this game will be great in a year from now, but in its current state, I feel that Payday 3 is not a good video game. At best, I would only recommend it for Game Pass subscribers, and that's about it. So overall, I'm very disappointed with Payday 3. I liked Payday 2, but this was a disappointment. I'm giving Payday 3 a 5.5 out of 10. This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you guys next time.